Hi everyone, I'm Peggy Rometo and this is the Weekly Wake Up. Okay, so hopefully you've gotten used to being able to slow down, to stop, to be able to take a few breaths, to be able to receive information that's going to support you in your life or in the moment. So this is our weekly practice that we get the chance to do that. So as we always start, we just want to take our breath, 3 breaths in, 3 breaths out, and with every breath we let go of what we think we're supposed to know or what we think we're supposed to do, and open our minds to be able to receive information that's going to support us for the week. And as I start to receive that information, I hope that you're listening with your mind and with your body and noticing, does that feel right? Does that feel true for me? Does it feel off for me? And if it does, to let it go. And if you're doing this consistently, maybe you're getting some additional information to the information that's coming in. So if you do, share it, put it, go ahead, feel free to write it on at the bottom of the screen when I say, okay, maybe you're supposed to do this for the week. Maybe say, oh yeah, I got that and I got this as well, right? So I'd love to hear, as you're trusting your own intuition, how it comes up for you, if information is starting to show up for you and you're starting to pay attention to it, and then has it helped you, and if so, how? So I love great feedback when you're actually putting things into practice and you're starting to see the results, because this is, frankly, this is how I trained myself. It's how the guides or the angels or God, whatever you want to say, that beautiful benevolent force was that sort of woke me up to listening as I went through that process. It's how I was trained every day, just to tune in, to listen to that train of thought, that consciousness that was coming in, and then be guided by it. And most of the time it was always about looking at myself and don't do this and don't do that, right? In terms of our emotions, or in terms of the way we are in the world, because those parts of ourself, that ego, that heaviness, is what gets in the way, what gets in the way of our God consciousness, or keeps us from trusting. So the more we can break down those barriers within ourselves, the easier it is for us to receive information and to be able to be right mind, right consciousness, so that we can take the right steps for our happiness and for those around us. So hopefully you guys are experiencing some of that, and like I said, I'd love to hear about it, and so feel free to comment below the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and tune in. We start with those 3 long breaths and relaxing each and every time, and then we open to see what's possible for us for the week. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Okay, so this week is about rising above the limits, those self-imposed limits that we put on ourselves, right? It's about getting out of our own way. It's about letting go of what's not working. It's about releasing our own impatience, our own need to be right, that unbendable part of ourselves. So some of us may run into some challenges this week, just impatience with ourselves, or frustration with our partners, or with people around us that we can't convince or we can't bend into buying it our way, or believing us, or trusting us, or changing their mind about things. So there may be some conflict, especially towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday possibly. There is also, we'll just say that there's a lot of energy coming in this week. There is Passover, which is on Friday, which is an energy in time. And then we have Easter, which is on Sunday. So we have these 2 big energy points in the world of coming in, and information coming in, and energy coming in. That you don't have to be religious to participate, that you can just open your heart to, and you can connect with the divine, and being able to receive information and to be able to receive and uplift yourself. Now, as with anything, the more effort you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay, so so you can't just kind of show up. It's like, it's like showing up at somebody's, wedding that you haven't seen in 20 years and expect to, have the best time ever because you haven't reconnected with anybody, right? But if you were, somebody who lived in the town and the community, and they're your best friends, and you were there every day, connecting with them, you would have a better time. It's like that. It's like, if you're just getting back to knowing yourself or getting back to knowing God or the Creator, you can still participate, but if you put more into it, more of a daily practice, more into looking at yourself and removing your own fears, your own judgments, your own opinions, your own beliefs that don't serve you anymore, you're going to be able to resurrect, right? Or you're going to be able to receive more of that light coming in. And that's actually what Passover is just the energy comes in, and we really don't have to earn it. It just shows up. And it's the same with Easter, right? We haven't done anything to earn that energy, right? It just shows up, and then the earning comes later. And so as we want to receive what's available for us, these infusions or these injections of this amazing energy this coming weekend, some of that hits up against the tension of the parts of ourselves that aren't that yet, that aren't that elevated, that aren't that conscious. So there can be some friction this week, and what there is to do is relax into it. Don't fight against it. When somebody points out one of your flaws, go, oh, thank you. Okay, I can see that, right? Which isn't always that easy to do. Or when you see somebody else's flaw, resist the temptation to put it in their face, right? Instead, be able to say something more constructive, right? So it's about slowing down and looking at the ways in which we communicate and trying to elevate the situation, try and bring more light to the situation or to your community or to those moments in time. Okay, so patience is needed. All right, so let's see what else is needed for us this week, or we should be aware for the week. So also, you don't want to rush. This is a week where you want to take your time. You don't want to rush through details. You don't because you're likely to miss it. Remember, we're in the Mercury retrograde phase, so that means communication is likely to be off. Things are likely to be delayed. Things aren't happening as frequently as they were, or as faster progresses as they were, say, last week. You may find people coming back into your life this week. Some of them may be exes, old boyfriends, old girlfriends, old lovers, old friends may be showing up. And that's fine if they do, right? It's unless you're not okay with it. And if you're not okay with it, then you get to say, no, thank you, right? Because we always have a choice about who we want in our lives. But just have the awareness that that could be happening this week, people coming back into your life. The same is true for partners. Old things that are not completed, situations that need, the crossing of the T's or the dotting of the I's, right? So there may be things that are brought to your attention that need to be redone, or things that were missing. Maybe you turned in paperwork and it's sent back to you this week because you wrote the check out to the wrong company, or you didn't sign the contract in this place, right? So those kind of like missed communications, those things, they could come back to you this week as well. All right, so let's see what else is in store for us this week. There's also a lot of good energy this week in that because it's slower, the energy's a little bit slower, you may feel like you have more time. You may feel like it's kind of like floating, at the top of a pool. Like you can just kind of like lay there and enjoy the sun a little bit. But keep in mind, that the sun does burn. So, you want to pay attention to your environment. You want to pay attention to how long you're relaxing, right? It's good that you slow down. It's good that you relax, but you just want to pay attention in terms of your timing and, do I have time to do that now or should I do it later kind of thing. So just pay attention with timing because there can be, again, some miscommunication with timing. All right, let's see what else there that we need to be aware of for the week. So you want to be careful not to second guess yourself, especially if it's something that you made a decision about, let's say 3 or 4 weeks ago, or even 3 or 4 months ago, and it's brought back now to review. In this process of reviewing, you could get confused and you could start to want to rip everything apart and completely change it. Don't do that, because a lot of the times with this energy, it's us not trusting ourselves and communication is off. So you want to be careful not to have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? You don't want to have to redo everything. So it's important to look and see small chunks. Does this feel right to me? Does, you know, if I just change this or move this over there, how does that feel? But I wouldn't recommend like ripping things up and starting over at this point, just because the Mercury retrograde energy can cause us to doubt or second guess ourselves. And then when this clears after April 15th, we go, oh my God, I just wasted all that time going down the wrong path because I wasn't clear, or the communication to me wasn't clear. Because that's the other thing, especially if this is a collaboration, it could be the communication's not clear. So I would resist the temptation to completely rip things apart and start all over. Instead, I would make small changes, sit with it, move through it, see how that feels. And you'd have a better, feels like things will just be smoother, and there'd be less chance for kind of really missing the mark on things. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else for you. Yeah, there's a real social energy that's coming up this weekend too. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and of course we talked about the holidays already, and of course it's just the weekend as well. So there's a lot of energy coming in and a lot of joyful opportunities to connect with people and families. And just make sure that you take care of yourself and that you're really being present, right? Being present with those around you and really not rushing, but really getting filled up with the friendship, filled up with the love, filled up with the time, and being able to value the people in your life, and not having to rush through this time period, because it's really special, and it only comes around once a year. So you really want to enjoy the energy that it's being presented to you. All right, and is there anything that we're not aware of that we need to be aware of for the week? Okay, so let's see what that could be. Okay, there may be that some people need you, but not in the way that you thought they needed you. So you may get some insight. There may be somebody that comes to you and you think it's about one thing, and they're coming to you for a completely different reason. So you want to be it's really important this week that you listen and don't assume. So when somebody says, hey, I want to talk to you about something, don't assume it's about XYZ, because they could be coming to you with something completely different and needing your help in a completely different way. The same is true for acknowledgement. You could be thinking, oh, they're going to tell me what a great job I've done on this, and it could be that it's about something completely different, that they're wanting acknowledgement about something they've done. So there's these wires that are crossed with communication this week, which we know about. So just be aware that could show up, and that could lead to disappointment when we're assuming. So just don't assume anything about your meetings or about those phone calls or about what people want from you. Just show up being curious. And so for the best advice for this week is just kind of be fluid, remain curious, have fun, observe yourself, observe the energy, really feel the energy in the body, really take your time. Don't put any pressure on yourself to, really force things. This is not a time to force anything. It's really about being in the flow and listening to the flow and really trusting yourself, because you guys have amazing instincts. And, at the end of the day, our soul consciousness rises above all of this astrology stuff or the Mercury retrograde or any of these other things. And so just know that at the end of the day, your connection is strongest with the Creator, and to be able to listen to that and to be able to know, okay, I just need to slow down, or I need to speed up, or I need to say yes, or I need to say no. So it's about trusting yourself, and it's about believing in yourself, and it's about believing in that connection. And when you believe it, right, what happens is then you start to see actions outside of yourself. So you get this hit or this idea, I need to take action here, and then you take action, and then you see the results. And that's how you know if you're onto something, and that's how you know it's like, wow, this intuition is really working, or I need to adjust it, right? And so as you pay attention to these things, you're strengthening that intuitive connection within yourself. It's like lifting weights, right? The more you practice, the stronger you get, and it's easier to trust and easier to believe in yourself. All right, you guys, have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. And if you celebrate these holidays, I wish you the best from them, and wish you all lots of love and that strong connection with the Creator, that you all get filled up and get everything that you need. And I look forward to connecting with you again next week, and I hope that you'll connect with me and leave me a note or ask me a question at the bottom if there's something that I've said this week that you don't quite get. And I look forward to connecting with you again next week. And of course, I always appreciate it when you share or you comment. All right, guys, have a great week.